Hi, Robin.
Hey there, Heidi.
So we are here today to discuss a topic that I think you guys will enjoy very much. It's about channeling. Robin had an experience when she was doing an interview and learned a few things that she was unaware of. So we wanted to share that, and we wanted to just kind of discuss the topic of channeling. So Robin, if you want to kind of let us know what happened during that interview.
Yes, yeah, and I'll just explain some of that as Robin so that people can get an understanding of what it's like from the perspective of a person that's channeling. This is a learning process. You're forever trying to figure things out and understand what will make the experience smoother and better, what would make you more connected to yet higher levels of perception and understanding, or are you just destined to what comes to you or what you have? And I'm finding out that the channeling experience is no different than any other experience that you're wanting to attract in. That the way that you love something, the way that you study about something, the way you pursue something actually expands you in that direction and therefore makes you an attractive quality to it. And so, how I discovered this was I was actually invited on a podcast where a very nice lady was interviewing me who had a very strong accent and wasn't really a clear English speaker. It was no problem for her to understand me at all. But I, on the other hand, really had a difficult time deciphering what she was asking me. Her English was so broken that I couldn't understand the questioning. So when you go into the channeling state and then you can't understand the question, I found that the channeling was kind of being affected by that. It was kind of feeling blocked and uncomfortable, which I normally never have in an exchange. And so as I was bouncing in and out as Robin trying to listen and as going into trance and allowing the group to listen, I just felt like the exchange was not the highest quality or the one that I would be really happy with. And so, of course, the next day I started asking myself, what really went on there? That just didn't feel good to me, and it didn't feel like my best interview. And then, of course, the answer came that the awareness that one holds within themselves and their consciousness about any given topic makes you an attractive quality to that topic. And so, without me being able to really embody her language and understand what she was asking me, it denied the group access to that question. So you have to understand that they are attaching to your energetic field and they're feeling you through the exchange that you're having. And therefore, if you're not clear in that exchange, then they aren't really getting the question to the level that they want to. And so then it went on to explain to me that also, if you are wanting to channel, say, extraterrestrials or gods and goddesses or higher levels of communication, that your best way of attaining that level of connection is by studying it, is by actually learning as much as you possibly can about it, puts that in your field. And therefore, those that are wanting to transmit that type of energy or information will connect to you through that connection. That's how they will actually find you. So I thought that was really valuable information to get. And Heidi, if you want to ask any questions at all in regard to that, I'll let the group come in then. And I just wanted to give you a basis of what I experienced that kind of confused me a little bit. It's kind of like when I started in the beginning, I realized that the more that I could trust in what was coming to me. Sometimes, even in Awen sessions, there will be some telepathic communication where I get a knowing that I should ask them this or ask them that. And then in the beginning, there's a little bit of resistance to that because you're always afraid, are they going to confirm of what it is that I'm asking? So there's very much this dependency on trust, on the ability to kind of let go and surrender and not attach to the outcome and then just let the information come through. And sometimes that's easier said than done. So I wanted to give people that teaching or understanding so that if they do want to become channels, they understand that trust and believability are such a big part of that. Even if you get the connection, if you're not able to really surrender to that and allow and trust, then you can't get that good communication that you're wanting to.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Mhm.
I find it interesting that the arena that Athena channels in is very similar to the interests and the lifestyle that Robin herself led.
Yeah.
So it completely seems to go with, helping people and wanting to assist them with dilemmas they had in their life is exactly the genre that Athena works best in. So I do see that attractive quality there.
Yeah, well, even in the Kundalini activations that we are doing every other month on our website, and also all of the work that Robin does with activations with those that make the session with her for the release of energy from their chakras in the endeavor to connect them to the Kundalini energy. All of that kind of stuff was something that Robin had a great passion for, that she had studied a lot. She actually got the result of a Kundalini awakening. She went through every avenue of that energy, so she's very familiar with what humans could struggle with in regard to that energy. And so it sounds only natural that that would happen. And once again, we want to use this as an example of something that happened that didn't feel good, that actually delivered something very important to Robin. And so even though she didn't feel like she had the best interview that she's ever had, what she learned through that process was something that could not be gotten to her any other way without that experience. So we want you to understand as you live your lives and you are having your experiences that sometimes something that you have to go through or that you feel will uncover or reveal to you something about yourself that without that experience you would never understand or be able to transcend. Do you understand what we're saying, Heidi?
I do, yes. I was wondering if you could kind of help listeners. What Robin was explaining to me was she has to withdraw her attention or her focus to allow you to come in and use her vessel to transmit. And what was happening in that interview was Robin had to keep listening and trying to
Yeah.
understand. And
Yes.
so she wasn't fully able to move her attention out of that situation.
That's
Um,
exactly what happened. Yeah, she normally would remove her consciousness, and it would actually be occupied independently by the divinity part of herself. So it would be able to listen and then transmit that answer. But it needs her cognitivity or her mental state, let's use that term, in order to decipher what is being said. So even though she has no awareness of it when exchanges are going on and she is in full channel, there's a understanding of that speech, and therefore her vessel can be used to decipher it and then send it to, or connect it to, let's use that term, to us, where we then answer the question. But as she did not understand the question, and this has happened one other time where she was asked something about something she had never heard of or was not in her field at all, that piqued her or brought her consciousness in because it was not a member or a part of her. And so it's important to know one of the things that she remembers reading many, many years ago when she was interested in following other mediums and channelers. She had read a book about Sylvia Browne, who was really one of the experts in the field. And what she was recommended to do early on was to stop her practice completely and educate herself in every religion that she could, so that she had a broad basis or understanding of every human that would come before her in what their belief systems were. And this is one of the things that made her the magnificent medium that she was. Yeah. So it is to understand that the pursuit of education in what you love to do and feel as you do it is something that will be added to your field and potentially something that you would channel or that you would connect into, you see.
mhm. So I'm
Yeah.
starting to kind of get the feeling, just as there are humans with so many different interests and
Mhm.
personalities living on our plane, that it is quite similar in the non-physical realm. And that possibly is that the reason why we have so many different and unique types of channelers, that they just are simply specializing in an area that's of interest to them. Is that correct?
Yes, absolutely. It's a connectivity, a stream of consciousness that is likened or similar. However, what Robin learned in that exchange is she doesn't have to be isolated to her own interests, that she can expand those interests just for the sake of connectivity and then gain access to yet greater and higher levels of consciousness that she might find interesting to add to her repertoire or what it is she is doing. Yeah. So it made her aware that if I would like to expand this into a different or another level of teaching, all I need to do is to find something that resonates with me, study it, add it to my universe. Yeah. And then those beings that have noticed that she is open or that the ability to channel through her is there would show up. Yeah. She would actually get that experience just by adding it in the way that she felt about it and then pursuing it with her interest. Yeah.
Mhm. So do
Yeah.
you think that there are a number of channelers out there that exist that are aware of this information that you're sharing with us today?
I think there are some that quite possibly would smile about it and then recognize that, in fact, it was true. And then there might be some that are channeling entities, let's say, from the terrestrial planets that really maybe don't understand. Maybe they didn't study it, but they were perhaps one themselves in a past life, or that they are a continuum of something that they were already doing in another incarnation. So that is another process. So one might not consciously recognize that they had that wisdom and knowledge within them, and therefore it made them connective to it. But we want to delineate again that even the channeling experience is an attractive one, or that is brought to oneself in the way that they are interested in it or pursue it. Yep.
Mhm. So if someone was interested in pursuing channeling, what do you think is the best way for them to do that? Do you think it's best for them to just continue seeking and learn and loving as much information as they possibly can? Or is there some other methods they should follow to
Yeah.
become a channeler?
Well, there are actually several ways. One of the ways that we've talked about is by releasing that Kundalini energy, because that will make almost every person that releases their Kundalini energy ends up being a channeler, because that energy is derived mainly to help a human be in service, or to use their spiritual gifts as a way of serving humanity. So once that energy gets released, it is sent out to the universe as a beeper. Yeah. Or something that if someone would like to channel through and assist in the rise in consciousness and humanity, that would be a signal that would be readily available. And that's what happened in Robin's case. But other people can become channelers. Perhaps they were one in a past life. Perhaps they have wanted to be in service, and maybe they have not activated their Kundalini, but they have a great love for it. And they are ones that are always offering or contributing to others' lives. And this can also make you a quality that is attractive to those that want to channel through you. So there are different scenarios or circumstances of which that can be brought to a person. But we would tell you that one of the reasons that we pursue with others releasing their Kundalini is because we know that when that energy gets released, that it is a given that they are going to become a channeler. Now, it took Robin 20 years to come into connection with that, but that doesn't mean that it didn't exist. A lot of this is based on timing. How well is it going to fit in your life? And how well are you going to be able to accept it? Is your consciousness healed enough that your own personal holdings aren't going to affect the exchanges that you have with others? Because that's a lot of the work that needs to get done before one becomes a channeler. Otherwise, every time someone comes before you that is stimulated or holding emotion, they're going to stimulate that emotion in you, and you're not going to be an effective clearer or a teacher that's going to be of great benefit to them. So the more that one comes into alignment in the healing of themselves, and that's what actually happens with the release of Kundalini energy. There is an acceleration of observation and understanding of how you're creating in your experience, and whether it's in suffering or not. And then the ability to start to observe that and release that from your field. Once that is done, you become a much better channeler, much more capable of transmitting information that is well received by a human than one that is heavily laden with emotion, and therefore has a lot of their own personal experiences that are entering into their exchanges.
Mhm, mhm. So, sneak peek, as far as Robin goes, do you foresee Robin taking any special interest in any particular area of study? And if so, what would that be?
Yes, we do see that her consciousness will continue to expand with her belief and perception, and now new understanding of how to do it. Yeah, nothing's for free, Heidi. Everything comes through intent and focus. So dependent on her level of focus and her level of interest and her level of satisfaction to pursue that, she would in fact be able to transmit yet higher levels of consciousness, but she would have to expand her own to do that. Yeah, and so it's all about whether she is willing to commit the time and what the interests are. She does have some interests, of course, in alien activity. She is very interested in the Palladians and some of those that are nicer, she said. Yeah. And so there are other levels of consciousness that would be interested in fact, transmuting through her, but the level of her consciousness would need to expand in order for her to do that.
All right. Well, thank you so much. We hope this gave you information that was useful to you, and we will see you all next time. Thank
Heidi,
you.
we just add, yeah, before we close,
Oh,
uh,
yes.
Don't give up the idea if you want to become a channeler. Don't think that there is something special that's about Robin or anyone else that is doing this work. This is available to anyone, just like any other occupation or endeavor that a human is wanting to achieve is. However, it is you, the human, that moves to the idea or understanding that it is not possible, or that you have to be better than you are, or that you're not good enough, that makes you non-connective to the experience that's been created by you just in wanting it. There's no exclusion here. When you have wanted something, that opportunity, in fact, exists for you in the divinity part of you. And now it is your work, if you would call it work, or your desire to align to what has been created. And that comes to your perception and belief that you are worthy to attain that which you have added to your universe.
All right. Thank you so much.
Mhm.
See you next time.